What I'm going to try to demonstrate here is how to use the histogram function that we used in class this week using the Excel version for Mac. So this would be Excel 2011. Oddly enough, the automatic function of the histogram tool is not available for the Mac version, so we have to kind of do it manually. But I think you'll find that it's actually a more versatile way to do it yourself and be restricted to their automated one. So what I'm going to start off with is just maximize my screen here. And I'm going to show you the PC version. I can get it to, there we go. So this is the PC result. It's obviously on my Mac version. I ran it on a PC and just saved it. So if you remember from class, this series of information was originally available that I've highlighted. And then when you run the histogram add-on, it generates this table based on the bin size we provided, and then of course generates this handy plot. So that is what we're going to try to achieve using the Mac version. So back to the Mac version. One thing I want to sort of remind you is that we had some named fields that we already have used. I could just highlight them, but I'm going to use the named fields because they're handy. I'm going to get rid of the ribbon because I don't need it. And then this flow diagram, the named field, is all these flow data sets, so I don't have to highlight it every time when I want to call that up. So here's our bins. We start off with this. I'm going to label a cell here. And cumulative 18%. Good. All right. So what we're going to first do is highlight the entire region here. Okay? Highlight all of it from 0 down to the more, next to the bin sizes, because we're going to use this as those bin sizes to specify our ranges. I'm going to use a command called frequency, which then, why is it not working? Should pop up. There it goes. Frequency. It's going to come up if you start typing. I've used it recently. The data array. Well, my data array is the flow data. So I'm just going to type in flow here because we've already named it. Then it's obviously the bin array. The bin array is the 0 down to the more. And actually include the more. It actually knows how to handle that. It's just the greater than 5,000 values. Now here's the important part. This is an array. In order to tell Excel that this is an array, you have to hit Shift, Control, hold those down, and then hit Enter. So once again, I'm going to hold down Shift and Control together, and then hit Enter. And there it is, done. This is now defined as an array. I can tell that because if you look up here at the equation bar, it has these squiggly brackets on the outside of it. You can't just override those and insert those manually. You have to do this Control Shift Enter feature. Now, one thing that I'm going to do now is cumulative percent. I have to do this in a little bit more mathematically intensive way, but basically it's the amount in the bin divided by the total. So since I don't know exactly how many I have, I'm going to use a couple of features here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sit there and just say, my total. This is how many are in the bin. I'm going to divide that by I'm going to use the function count, and then I'm just going to put in the flow again, and that will give me the amount. It's going to give me the amount of numbers that are in the flow. So that will give me 12%. You may have to do a slight formatting there, and just to show that that count is equals count, and I'm going to type flow. And it's going to tell me it's 5,114 points. So 6 divided by that is 0.12. All right. Yeah, I said 12%, but it's 0.12. All right, so now this is one of those rare instances where we can actually add percentages because they're all from the same data set. So I'm just going to say I'm going to take this value, the previous one, and I'm going to add it to the percent in the next bin. So that would be the 16, and I'm going to divide that again by the amount of data sets in flow. And there it is. Obviously my formatting is a little off. Oops, come back. All right. So obviously my formatting is a little bit off, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to drag that down, and then I'm going to, let's see, get rid of some zeros there because we definitely don't need all those. And I'm just using the plus increase, decrease decimal value. And then if you look at this, you'll see that we have the same results as we had in the Excel worksheet. So now I just have to the main thing I have to do is to do the actual plot. Simply to do the plot, couple ways of doing a plot. You may have your own personal way of doing a chart. I'm going to go make a chart. I'm going to make a column chart. Just going to use a standard clustered column because that'll match again what the Excel or the PC version has done for us. And there it is. So it puts that in there. And you'll notice that the cumulative percent is not really showing up at this point. Okay, so hope that didn't jump on you too much there. But anyway, what I wanted to point out was that the cumulative percent is not showing up because it's down here at the 100 and it's not showing up. So I pick on this. I'm just going to use the arrows to move around and select the editable fields. And actually, if I go up arrow, it'll automatically pick that one for me. If I go down, it'll pick the different lines. It's kind of a nice way to navigate around your field. So now that I've had that, I can do a control click or a right click depending on your area, because these are highlighted. It's activated cumulative set. I can now format my data series, and all I'm going to do is take it to the secondary axis. You may have to click down here to get to your secondary axis choice. Hit OK, and obviously it's there now. Obviously the format doesn't quite match because it uses a line plot. So all I have to do then is right click on it again. Now it's easy to do that because it's nice and large on this other size, and I can change the chart type, and once I do that, this goes active again, and I'm just going to make it a line, and I'll just do it a marked line because that's easy to do. And you'll see now that effectively we have the exact same result. Wait, it doesn't have a heading, so I'll do that. Do that, above chart, histogram, it's, and I'll say Mac version. Now, I'm going to show you a few little benefits that we have that you didn't have with the other version. And by jumping over to the PC version, you'll see that we have a similar plot, same results. And one of the interesting things is that we had this handy, we could choose the flow increment, and it would automatically update the bin size. So if I change it to 500, it changes the bin size, but it doesn't change the bin sizes over here because this now goes to 10,000, this stays at 5,000, and of course our chart did not update. Because our Mac version is equation based, I can go in and I can change this to 500, and it automatically updates the chart because it updated the bin sizes and uses the correct calculations. Obviously our cumulative percent saturates quite quickly, or even 100, and I can get a different distribution. So there's some more flexibility. I hope this works for you. Good luck.